It looks like Bradley Beal is going to be on the move this summer, and things are moving very quickly. Shams Charania reported just today that the Washington Wizards are in serious talks with the Miami Heat and the Phoenix Suns on trades for Bradley Beal. Now, Beal has a no trade clause, so he has to sign off on whatever trade is agreed to, but it does appear that Beal is going to be on his way out of Washington this summer, and right now it's Miami and Phoenix that are in serious discussions. Now, when I first saw this news, I think Miami makes sense. I think they have the necessary assets to trade to Washington to get Beal, and I think while Beal has probably underperformed for the amount of talent that he has, I think if there's anywhere that could develop him into the player that he can be and help him reach his potential, it's Miami. And Miami was very close to winning a title this year. They made it to the finals as an 8 seed, and now they are looking to add another star along with Butler and Adebayo. They've been in rumors with Damian Lillard and now Bradley Beal, and I think I would probably rather have Lillard if I'm Miami, but in terms of just pure fit, I think Miami could make it work with Bradley Beal. Now, talking about Phoenix Suns, this part does not make really any sense to me. Phoenix traded pretty much every asset they had left last season for Kevin Durant, and then that meant in the playoffs they had very little depth and came up short against the Nuggets. Now they're a serious contender for Bradley Beal. That doesn't make a ton of sense for me, because if they were to make a Bradley Beal trade, first of all, they don't have a ton of assets. Like DeAndre Ayton would have to be in the deal, and it pretty much seems like he was going to be traded anyway, so if you trade him and get Beal back, then maybe that is a good deal for them. But I just think with the contract that Bradley Beal signed last offseason and the deals that Booker and Durant have, these guys are going to be making a lot of money. And with the new CBA coming up and the penalties from going over the second apron, I don't see how Phoenix can pay 3 players almost $150 million a season and not get absolutely wrecked by the new CBA. Not to mention the fact that they're already not very deep, as I mentioned. So if you're paying all this money to these 3 stars, but then you can't surround them with any reasonable amount of talent, then you're not going to go very far. And because in the playoffs this past season, Durant and Booker did everything they could. They were able to steal 2 games against Denver, but ultimately it was too tiring for them. They were exhausted at the end of that series. They just didn't have enough depth to beat Denver. So if I was Phoenix, I would not accept this trade. And for those of you who are familiar with the Bill Simmons podcast, he talks about how every time a new owner comes in, they often will make like a big aggressive move right away. He calls it new owner syndrome. And I think we're getting a full case of that with Matt Ishbia. He already made the Kevin Durant trade. And if he makes the Beal trade too, then that's a full case of new owner syndrome. Another thing, Beal, Booker, and Durant are all locked up under contract for, I believe, like 3 or 4 more seasons. So if they make this trade, then not only is it a lot of money that they're paying to their stars, it's a lot of money that's locked up in long-term contracts that may be kind of hard for them to move. So if I'm Phoenix, I am not making this trade. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are though. Where would you like to see Bradley Beal end up? What is a trade that makes sense for all parties? Is it Miami? Is it Philadelphia? Where do you think he's going to end up? Let me know down in the comments.